I am the bridge.
I am the bridge.
I am the bridge.
For myself, I have thick enough skin to understand the system and go through a lot of the negative things that it imposes. But for me, the harder part is knowing that I now have children, that I don't want them to ever feel that.
I guess it's this idea of one race is more superior than another, one race is either inferior than another.
When other people start identifying you as a certain race, they have a whole host of stereotypes and prejudices that they might bring into that.
I've come to understand race as an arbitrary factor by which power, wealth, and credibility are afforded.
One of the most important things to understand about racism is that the only purpose it serves is to justify inequality.
It's treating anyone differently solely based on their race or the color of their skin.
Racism, I think at the heart of it is ignorance and fear of diversity, fear of difference.
All of the books that I read about First Nations culture or about Métis culture were written by white people, taught to me by white people. And I didn't even have access to books by Indigenous people about Indigenous history and theory and practices and way of living and worldview until I got to university.
And I sat down waiting for my name to be called at the pharmacy, and I asked the security guard, "Can I help you?" Because he sat down literally right next to me, and he said, "I'm just waiting for you to leave the store."
And I think a lot of the times people say things and they don't even realize how racist they're being.
Not only am I First Nations, I'm a woman, and I'm also gay. So I realized that in this country, I am not a high priority.
I've gotten a lot of assumptions about where I'm from, and from that, oh, are you this? Are you that? Do you speak this?
Being someone who's half Métis, but not looking in any way at all Native, I have experienced racism by, I don't know what the word is, listening to people spew garbage about people that are part of my heritage.
Typically when I find it in the workforce, it's taken very lightly. The boys joke about it, and again, it's mostly white males that I've worked with in the blue-collar jobs. Again, it's taken as a joke.
As a young Indigenous person in Saskatoon, I almost felt like I can't say anything.
By knowing that history, that I'm better able to understand racism, its roots.
By accepting people from all walks of life and all races equally.
The way that I look at the world, I say it's just people, and people all deserve dignity and deserve respect.
Being a better listener and being a better communicator.
We can also work to educate our friends and family, and also start to think about solidarity work. In other words, what does it mean to work with other people in the city that are facing the violence of racism every day?
If I'm going to be the bridge to ending racism in Saskatoon or anywhere else, I have to acknowledge my own privilege, and I have to acknowledge my own racist attitudes.
If you educate people, or you put them in situations where they can almost experience how minorities feel. I think that would be one of the main ways to squash the whole being racist.
I'm hopeful for what we can do together.